Television Network. Today is Thursday, November 13th, 2025. I'm Brandon Najera.
And I'm Christian Kluver.
First tonight, the House of Representatives has passed a bill which will bring an end to the 43-day-long government shutdown, the longest government shutdown in U.S. history. Alongside the vote, Speaker of the House, Republican Mike Johnson, swore in newly elected Representative Democrat of Arizona, Adelita Grijalva. Grijalva was elected 7 weeks ago. Speaker Johnson blamed the delay of the government on the shutdown. Grijalva has additionally become the 8th vote needed on the bipartisan petition to release the Epstein files.
For the first time ever, the median age of the first-time home buyer is 40 years old. According to the National Association of Realtors, back in the 1980s, first-time home buyers were in their late 20s. This week, President Trump floated the idea of a 50-year mortgage. And while it's just an idea, it's putting a spotlight on the housing affordability crisis. Coldwell Banker recently conducted a survey and found 85% of those polled said that they believed homeownership is still a part of the American dream for most Americans. But many aspiring buyers worry about the affording one. There are some banks that allow qualifying first-time buyers to put down as little as 3% for your total mortgage. Check if you qualify for a government-backed mortgage like the FHA that could let you put down 3.5%. If you're a veteran, the Department of Veteran Affairs offers some programs that allow you to put down 0%. There are state and local grants you can apply for as well.
If you order from a list of handcrafted holiday beverages, you get a free limited edition 16-ounce reusable red cup. The offer is available while supplies last at participating U.S. Starbucks locations, but the giveaway could be affected by labor relations. Starbucks union members voted to approve a nationwide strike on Red Cup Day unless a contract agreement is reached. Starbucks Workers United didn't say how many locations would be affected. However, workers in at least 25 cities are planning to strike and more locations could be added. The union cited the gap between what workers get paid and how much money the CEO makes in their contract demands.
The penny is suffering the same fate as the dodo bird or the 8-track player. After 238 years, the U.S. Mint produced its last 1-cent coin on Wednesday. Earlier this year, President Trump announced that he ordered the nation to stop making the penny, saying that each one cost nearly 4 cents to create. Other coins, including the nickel, dime, and quarter, will remain in circulation, however. Although the penny already seems to be obsolete to some consumers, its removal is causing problems for some merchants who will now have to round prices either up or down. And dropping the penny will create a greater need for nickels, which are a more expensive coin to mint.
Sit back, relax, and enjoy the driverless ride. Waymo is breaking free of its restrictions to the city streets of San Francisco and extending services to Bay Area freeways in the city of San Jose as of Wednesday. The driverless vehicle will be available at San Jose Airport, the second airport in the country to take on the AI cars. Up next, international news. Stick with us.
It's like a shorter one.
It is a new day for jobs and careers, and the skills needed to compete are rapidly changing. This is why more students are choosing Lewis University. Lewis prepares you for emerging opportunities in some of the most highly sought-after fields. Higher education is the most crucial investment you can make in your future. Lewis provides you with a lasting education that will launch you towards success today and strong, growing careers of tomorrow. Begin an education that will pay dividends for a lifetime. Learn more at lewisu.edu.
There's so many rewards in life. You coming into our home was one of the greatest rewards we could have ever had.
You know, it took 20 years and I got my third child who was 17 at the time.
It's so cool to watch the adult that you've become, and you really have done as much for us as you think we've done for you.
A new joint report by Human Rights Watch and Central American rights group Crystal Sol accuses both the United States and El Salvador of serious human rights violations. The report alleges that dozens of Venezuelans reported from the U.S. earlier this year were tortured inside an El Salvadorian prison. The report released Wednesday centers on the case of 252 Venezuelans who were deported from the United States and sent to El Salvador's high-security terrorism confinement center, also known as CICAT. Human Rights Watch and Crystal Sol interviewed 40 of those detainees. They described being beaten by guards, subjected to sexual violence, and placed in solitary confinement as punishment for protesting. Several detainees said that they were denied access to lawyers, humiliated, and told that nobody that knew that they were there. Some said that the mistreatment pushed them to the brink of suicide. The report accuses El Salvador's prison system of carrying out systematic abuse and alleges that the Trump administration was compliant in the torture, enforced disappearances, and other violations by sending migrants there. El Salvador's government has previously stated that it respects human rights of all detainees and that its prison system operates under international standards. For now, rights groups are called an independent investigation to alleged torture and the role play of both the U.S. and Salvadorian authorities.
President Trump is asking for a full pardon for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Netanyahu faces a number of corruption charges in 3 separate cases, including fraud, bribery, and breach of trust. Trump called the charges political and unjustified in a letter sent to the office of Israeli President Isaac Herzog. Trump also said Netanyahu was a formidable and decisive wartime prime minister and is now leading Israel into a time of peace. Herzog's office said anyone seeking a presidential pardon must fill out and submit a formal request. Netanyahu has pleaded not guilty and hasn't submitted an official request for a pardon in his ongoing trial.
Tropical storm Foong Wong downgraded from a typhoon early Tuesday, bringing heavy rain and strong winds to northern and eastern Taiwan as it moves closer to the island. The storm's approach prompted school and office closures in Taiwan, Yilan, Hualien, Penghu, and several districts of New Taipei, while forecasters warned that the combined effects of Foong Wong and seasonal northeasterly winds will intensify rainfall in the north. The storm is expected to make landfall in southern Taiwan on Wednesday before tracking northeast and weakening further.
At least 20 people were injured in a train derailment in Buenos Aires Tuesday, according to local authorities. According to the city's emergency medical care system, a train derailment in the Liners area of Buenos Aires injured 20 people on Tuesday. 11 people were treated at the scene, and the remaining 9 were taken to 4 different hospitals. The institution added that 14 of the injured are adults, 2 are minors, and in 4 cases, the ages haven't been determined. The vehicle involved in the derailment was a train on the Sarmiento line. The incident may have been caused by a track switch. After the derailment, personnel from several emergency services arrived at the scene, including the members of the fire department and the federal police's Special Rescue Brigade.
The government of Mexico unveiled a plan to combat crime in the state of Michoacan, following the assassination of a popular local mayor during a public event that shocked the country. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum made the announcements on Sunday. The strategy will involve an investment of 57 billion pesos and more than 10,000 members of armed forces. This after the assassination of Europan Mayor Carlos Manzo in Mexico's Michoacan state on November 2nd. Next, your local news. Stay with us.
Showcasing countless students. As the first all-digital college radio station, Lewis University students are given access to industry-leading equipment. Equipment that commercial stations utilize, equipment that creates, and equipment that brings radio to life.
I like WLRA because it gives me the opportunity to get experience with news broadcasting and working with radio.
Stop by De La Salle 210 or at WLRA Radio to get started on your radio career.
There's so many rewards in life. You coming into our home was one of the greatest rewards we could have ever had.
You know, it took 20 years and I got my 3rd child who was 17 at the time.
It's so cool to watch the adult that you've become, and you really have done as much for us as you think we've done for you.
CBS investigative reporter Dave Savini spoke on campus Monday night as part of the Arts and Ideas series. With more is Christian Kluver.
At Lewis University's Damien Auditorium, students and faculty alike gather to hear one of Chicago's best investigative reporters, CBS 2's Dave Savini. His message, how journalism uncovers truth and impacts our community. CBS 2 investigative reporter Dave Savini took the stage Monday night, sharing how digging for the truth can change lives, policies, and even entire communities.
What drives me the most is wanting to uncover the truth. And sometimes it doesn't happen right away, and you have to stay on a story for a long time until you get that truth. And often it has to do with transparency and a lack of transparency, so you got to dig for the answers.
Savini is known for his Wrong Grade series, a 4-year investigation into Chicago police raiding the wrong homes, which led to citywide policy reforms.
Protecting sources is number one. You're only going to be as good as your word in this business.
Integrity, yeah.
So if you tell someone they're going to be confidential, you got to keep them confidential. You got to do your best to protect your sources, especially when they put their lives on the line to tell a story. You got to protect them.
Attendees say Savini's message reinforced the value of truth and accountability, especially in today's media landscape.
I wish people took journalism more seriously. For some reason in this country, we've decided to discount facts, and so I love the students' questions. That really makes me feel good as I go home tonight, that people actually care. So I was thrilled to be here and listen to that.
Just the stories. I mean, they were insane to me. Like, I thought the story about the police officer who was violating safety protocols in Logan County, that one was pretty shocking. I think the story, too, about Mr. McDonald and how he was thrown into a trash bin as an infant. I mean, all these stories and dozens more were just shocking.
Dave Savini says the job of a journalist is to question everything, and tonight reminded students that chasing the truth is always the most important factor. Christian Kluver, LUTV.
Thank you, Christian. In other news, the Village of Romeoville has released its 2025 holiday ornament, featuring the Parks and Recreation Department celebrating its 60th anniversary. The ornament is silver, approximately 2.75 inches by 2.75 inches, and depicts both the recreation center and a playground with a spinning middle. It's priced at $15 and available for purchase at Village Hall and the Recreation Center. Online orders are not accepted. The ornament series is made in America by the same company that produces official White House ornaments. The release adds a holiday spin to local news and highlights community pride.
Romeoville residents were informed that the property tax rebate program for residential owners for up to $80 of their 2024 village portion of taxes remains open until December 1st. The program appears in the news flash section of the village website, reminding eligible residents to apply before the deadline. This update offers relief to homeowners and supports local financial well-being as we head into holiday expenses. The reminder also coincides with the launch of the holiday ornament and other community initiatives. The timing makes it a relevant story for college-age residents who may be home for the break or helping family members out. Up next, entertainment with Michelle Staub.
It is a new day for jobs and careers, and the skills needed to compete are rapidly changing. This is why more students are choosing Lewis University. Lewis prepares you for emerging opportunities in some of the most highly sought after fields. Higher education is the most crucial investment you can make in your future. Lewis provides you with a lasting education that will launch you toward success today and strong growing careers of tomorrow. Begin an education that will pay dividends for a lifetime. Learn more at lewisu.edu.
The trailer for Toy Story 5 came out earlier this week, and it looks like a brand new adventure is on the way. This time, the gang meets a new high-tech toy rival named Lilypad, who's sure to shake things up. Tom Hanks, Tim Allen, and Joan Cusack are all returning to voice their iconic roles, joined by Tony Hale's Forky and newcomer Conan O'Brien as a tech-savvy toy called Smarty Pants. Toy Story 5 is set to hit theaters in June 2026, so mark your calendars for a major dose of nostalgia. The cause of death for KISS founding member Ace Frehley has been released. Officials say the legendary guitarist died from blunt head injuries after a fall, which the Morris County Medical Examiner ruled as an accident. Frehley had taken a fall a few weeks earlier and described it as minor, though he did cancel a show the next day. In early October, he called off the rest of his tour due to ongoing health issues. Frehley co-founded KISS back in 1973 and left the band nearly a decade later. His former bandmates Paul Stanley, Gene Simmons, and Peter Criss attended his memorial in New York City. Ace Frehley was 74 years old. Well-known rapper Rod Wave is behind bars in Georgia. Police say he was arrested in Atlanta on Friday on drug and weapons charges. The artist, whose real name is Rodarius Green, was booked into the Fulton County Jail on the very same day he earned his first ever Grammy nomination. This isn't his first legal trouble. Last May, Green was arrested in Atlanta on 13 charges, including aggravated assault. Rod Wave hasn't made a comment yet on the latest charges. An iconic piece of movie history is up for grabs. The Wicked Witch of the West's hat from The Wizard of Oz is heading to auction. Heritage Auctions will put the black wool hat on the block December 9th. The hat stands 14 inches tall, has a 19.5-inch brim, and even includes its original elastic chin strap. It last sold for nearly $3 million, but experts believe it could go for much more this time. Just last year, Heritage Auctions sold a pair of Dorothy's ruby red slippers from the same film for a staggering $28 million. Michael Jackson is back on the charts. Billboard says his iconic hit Thriller has returned to the top 10 on the Hot 100 this week, making Jackson the first artist ever to score top 10 hits in 6 different decades. In other music news, Train is heading back on tour. Their Drops of Jupiter 25 Years in the Atmosphere tour kicks off next summer, celebrating 25 years since the Grammy-winning song and album. And on the film side, Hayao Miyazaki's The Boy and the Heron returns to theaters this week as the final feature in Studio Ghibli Fest 2025. For showtimes and locations, head to fathomevents.com. Up next, Sharon sharing with health.
So many rewards in life. You coming into our home was one of the greatest rewards we could have ever had.
You know, it took 20 years, and I got my third child, who was 17 at the time.
It's so cool to watch the adult that you've become, and you really have done as much for us as you think we've done for you.
For over 50 years, WLRA has been on air showcasing countless students. As the first all-digital college radio station, Lewis University students are given access to industry-leading equipment. Equipment that commercial stations utilize, equipment that creates, and equipment that brings radio to life.
I like WLRA because it gives me the opportunity to get experience with news broadcasting and working with radio.
Stop by De La Salle 210 or at WLRA Radio to get started on your radio career.
Across the globe, high blood pressure in children has nearly doubled over the past 2 decades. A new study found that back in 2000, rates of hypertension in boys and girls hovered around 3%. But by 2020, those numbers had risen to around 6%. Doctors say children with hypertension are at a greater risk of developing heart disease later in life. Heart disease is the #1 cause of death in the United States. Experts say dietary factors in children, such as consuming high levels of sodium and ultra-processed food, can contribute to their hypertension risk, along with a sedentary lifestyle. A study describing the findings was published Wednesday in the journal The Lancet Child and Adolescent Health. Authorities in Texas are inspecting livestock for the New World screwworm. It's a flesh-eating parasite that has the potential to wreck the cattle industry. The screwworm is the larval form of a fly that nests in the wounds of warm-blooded animals and slowly eats them alive. On Tuesday, inspectors with the Texas Animal Health Commission along a highway south of San Antonio were checking for signs of the screwworm on animals heading north. Officials in Mexico have reported more than 800 active cases in cattle. As a result, the U.S. blocked imports of live Mexican cattle for a second time over the summer. An outbreak of the New World screwworm began to spread across Central America early in 2023. It reached southern Mexico late in 2024. The screwworm hasn't been detected in the Rio Grande Valley. Texas says its inspections are happening 80 miles north of the border. Pregnant women face a greater risk of homicide, especially when guns are in the picture. According to a study in JAMA Network Open, mothers-to-be are 37% more likely to be killed by a firearm than non-expectant women. Nearly 70% of the homicides for pregnant women are linked to guns. Researchers say the greatest risk of homicide is for women who are between 20 and 24 years old. The findings are based on more than 7,000 homicides of women who are of childbearing age. The study says domestic violence, firearm prohibitions, and safe storage laws might help keep more women safe. A new study has found that heavy drinking can cause an earlier and more severe stroke. Researchers defined heavy alcohol use as regularly consuming at least 3 drinks per day. That's linked to bleeding strokes, more severe brain bleeds, and earlier long-term brain damage. The study's lead author said people who drank an average of 3 glasses of alcohol per day had their brain bleeds on an average of 11 years younger than compared to people who were drinking less alcohol. The findings were based on data collected from 1,600 adults with a median age of 75 who were hospitalized for intracerebral hemorrhage. Up next, sports with Jaden Elmore.
It is a new day for jobs and careers, and the skills needed to compete are rapidly changing. This is why more students are choosing Lewis University. Lewis prepares you for emerging opportunities in some of the most highly sought after fields. Higher education is the most crucial investment you can make in your future. Lewis provides you with a lasting education that will launch you towards success today and strong growing careers of tomorrow. Begin an education that will pay dividends for a lifetime. Learn more at lewisu.edu.
There's so many rewards in life. You coming into our home was one of the greatest rewards we could have ever had.
You know, it took 20 years, and I got my third child, who was 17 at the time.
It's so cool to watch the adult that you've become, and you really have done as much for us as you think we've done for you.
Welcome back, Flyers, to our weekly weather forecast. Let's look at our low temperatures around the area tonight. Up north in Rockford, Island Lake, we are going to be sitting at 38. All the way out west towards Aurora, Rockford, it's going to be between 41 and 38. Down where we are, Joliet, Coal City area, it's going to be sitting around 40. All the way out east in Indiana, it'll still be ranging in the 30s. Similar all over. Tonight's high temperatures, same thing, not too much of a difference. Up north, it's going to be sitting at 53. It's going to be a little bit warmer down south where we are, 58 in Joliet, out east in Indiana, 51 in Valparaiso, and 52 in South Bend, 53 all the way out west in Aurora. We look at the radar around the area, completely clear. We should be all good. No rain, no snow, completely clear skies. Temperature changes around the area. Same thing, very little change. We've been stagnant all day. 0 up north in Rockford. We've had the most change down where we are in Joliet, a 4-degree change. Chicago in the city with only a degree change, and all the way out east. Only 2-degree change out in LaPorte, but 0 out in South Bend. And then for our 7-day outlook to cast us out tomorrow, Friday, we're going to have a great and sunny day, a warm day. 64 is our high, 56 is our low. Probably going to be one of our nicest days here left before winter, so make sure you get out. Same thing over the weekend. Partly cloudy on Saturday, completely sunny on Sunday. 64 is our high, 47 is our high on Sunday. We get into the week, same thing, partly cloudy all week. 46 is our high on Monday and Tuesday. 45 is going to be our high on Wednesday. That is all for our weather this week. We will get back to you next week. Until now, Jaden Elmo with sports.
Cristiano Ronaldo is showing no signs of slowing down even as talk of retirement continues to swirl. The Portuguese soccer legend confirmed during an interview at Saudi Arabia's tourism summit that the 2026 Cup will definitely be his last. The 40-year-old, who now plays for Al Nassr, says he still feels sharp and motivated but admits age will soon come up. Ronaldo reflected on his 25-year career, saying he's proud of his many records and plans to enjoy the game while he still can. He also praised both Portugal and Saudi Arabia, calling them countries close to his heart and saying he's proud to help grow the sport's global reach. Looking ahead, Ronaldo says his focus is on inspiring the next generation, including his son, Christian Jr., who's already following in his father's footsteps on the field. Lewis University senior Morgan Krupp earned all Great Lakes Valley Conference second-team honors after helping lead the Flyers back to the postseason. It marks the first all-GLVC selection of her career, highlighting her consistency and leadership on the field. Krupp started all 18 matches this season, logging more than 1,400 minutes, scoring 4 goals, including a game winner against Southwest Baptist, a finishing perfect 2-for-2 on penalty kicks. She closed out the year with 8 total points on 17 shots, playing a key role in the Flyers' late-season push. Senior Jada Harvey is also recognized, receiving the 2025 James R. Spalding Sportsmanship Award for Women's Soccer. The award honors her exemplary character, leadership, and integrity, both on and off the field, throughout the season. Lewis University senior Mikey Revelle capped off an astounding 2025 season by earning a spot on the All-Great Lakes Valley Conference third team, the first All-GLVC honor of his career. Revelle was just one of 3 Flyers to start all 18 matches, totaling more than 1,400 minutes on the field. He led the team with 14 points, scoring 5 goals and adding 4 assists, including a game winner against Illinois Springfield. Revelle also went a perfect 2-for-2 on penalty kicks, showcasing his reliability in key moments. Joining him among this year's honorees, senior Lance Sommerfield received the 2025 James R. Spalding Sportsmanship Award for men's soccer, recognizing his integrity, leadership, and sportsmanship throughout the season. The award highlights student athletes who exemplify exceptional character both in competition and representing their university. WNBA star Caitlin Clark is stepping into the spotlight once again, this time with her own edition of Kobe Bryant's signature Nike sneakers. On Wednesday, Nike unveiled the Kobe 6 Pro Tro by Caitlin Clark, featuring a light icy blue color and snakeskin texture inspired by the late NBA legend's iconic line. The shoe priced at $200 is built with cushioned foam for a faster, sleeker feel on the court. Nike also released the matching apparel, including a shirt and shorts to complement the launch. Clark Uholt continues to shine as guard for the Indiana Fever, is expected to debut her first official signature shoe line in 2026. Chicago Blackhawks forward Frank Nazar left Friday night's game against the Calgary Flames with an injury. The injury happened early in the first period when Nazar took a hit along the boards and twisted his knee. He skated off the ice on his own, but he did not return to the game. Blackhawks head coach Jeff Blashill said in a post-game interview that Nazar's condition is day-to-day. He was notably absent for Sunday's game in Detroit and from Wednesday's home game against the Devils. It's still unclear if Nazar will be able to play on Saturday's game, but the team stays hopeful for that injury isn't serious. Nazar has been an important part of the Hawks' young core, showing speed and offensive potential so far this season. The Blackhawks take on the Toronto Maple Leafs at home this Saturday. That's it for sports this week. We'll be right back after these messages.
For over 50 years, WLRA has been on air showcasing countless students. As the first all-digital college radio station, Lewis University students are given access to industry-leading equipment. Equipment that commercial stations utilize, equipment that creates, and equipment that brings radio to life.
I like WLRA because it gives me the opportunity to get experience with news broadcasting and working with radio.
Stop by De La Salle 210 or at WLRA Radio to get started on your radio career.
That's it for today's news, and as a reminder, you can always keep up with Lewis University Television Network on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and by visiting our YouTube channel. I'm Brandon Najera.
And I'm Christian Kluber. Have a great night, and we will see you next week.